The Don who saved us. The alarm on Sofia Morelli's phone buzzed at 5:30, a low hum that blended with the pre-dawn hush filling her cramped apartment. She silenced it before it could wake Leo, pressed the heel of her hand to her eyes, and exhaled the sleep from her lungs. Another day, another sprint between double shifts at St. Agnes Hospital, and the everyday miracles of single motherhood. She padded to the kitchenette, started coffee, and leaned on the counter while the machine sputtered. Paying rent early kept the landlord friendly. Extra tutoring sessions covered piano lessons. Nothing, however, covered the bruises Ryan had left on Leo's spirit. Sofia checked her reflection in the dark microwave door, pushed unruly chestnut hair into a loose bun, then crossed the living room-turned-bedroom. Leo lay curled beneath a navy comforter decorated with planets. Even in sleep, he looked ready to smile, brown lashes fanning delicate cheeks. She brushed a kiss against his temple. "Time to rise and shine, Professor," she whispered. He blinked awake, sleepy grin already in place. "Mom, it's still night." "Morning's hiding behind the curtains, up you get. French toast Friday." "Real maple syrup?" "The contraband kind Uncle Nico smuggles in from Vermont." That drew a whoop. He launched out of bed and sprinted to the bathroom. Sofia smiled, though the sound echoed off bare walls that were thinner since Ryan stopped paying child support. Still, they were safe. For now. During breakfast, Leo chattered about the drawing competition at school. "It's superhero day, so I'm sketching Starhawk fighting the Void King. I practiced capes last night." Sofia drizzled syrup over his toast. "Remember perspective. Capes flutter behind them, not beside. You always know. I'm secretly an art critic." She ruffled his hair, noticing a faint yellow mark along his jaw, almost gone. Anger flared, but she smothered it behind a soft smile so Leo wouldn't see. After dishes, Leo swung his backpack over one shoulder. "Can I walk on my own today? I'm almost 9. Sofia hesitated. 10 blocks through Brooklyn side streets past that derelict bodega where the owner sometimes yelled obscenities, and the old bench by the sycamores where an older gentleman often fed pigeons. Leo claimed the man told great jokes. She'd checked the route more times than she could count. "I'll walk with you halfway," she compromised. He sighed theatrically but accepted. They left the building, chilly September air stinging Sofia's cheeks. Halfway to school, Leo spotted the bench. The man was there, impeccably dressed in a charcoal overcoat, silver hair neat. 2 large men in dark suits standing a respectful distance behind him. Leo waved. The man's lined face broke into a grandfatherly smile. "That's him," Leo whispered. "Mr. Sal." Sofia's pulse kicked. "You know him?" "He's nice. He tells me stories about chess and Rome." "Leo, I promised not to talk to strangers, but he's not a stranger anymore." Before she could protest, a sleek black car pulled to the curb on the opposite side. Sofia's heart skipped. Tinted windows, idling engine, the sort Ryan sometimes bragged about stealing. She tugged Leo forward. "We're late, let's hurry." At the school gate, she knelt, tightening his scarf. "No detours after class. Straight home to Mrs. Alvarez until I finish my shift." "I will. Love you to infinity. Love you to the multiverse." He grinned, dashed inside, and Sofia forced herself to walk away, resisting the urge to chase him into the building. Work blurred, elevator alarms, call lights, the antiseptic smell of corridors. Between patients, Sofia texted Mrs. Alvarez to confirm Leo had arrived. She didn't mention the man at the bench. Maybe he was harmless. By the time her second shift ended, storm clouds sagged over the city. Sofia scraped hair off her neck and willed energy into her legs for the walk home. The apartment lights were off when she arrived. Odd, Mrs. Alvarez usually waited. Keys fumbled in the lock. Inside, the living room lamp toppled, bulb shattered across the floor. Adrenaline snapped through her veins. "Leo?" A muffled sob answered from the bedroom. Sofia sprinted, nearly slipping on shards. In the dim light, she found Leo on the rug, knees drawn to his chest. lip split and swelling. "Baby, talk to me." He tried to speak, a cry came instead. Sofia's gaze snapped up. Ryan leaned against the closet, shirt half untucked, cheap cologne mixing with whiskey. "Told you you'd regret playing games," he slurred. "I wanted dinner with my son. You pawn him off on strangers while you play nurse." Sofia's fury detonated. "You touch him again and You'll what? Call the cops?" He laughed, wiped sweat from his brow. "They take bribes just like everyone." She moved to Leo, but Ryan blocked her. "Move," she hissed. He slapped her shoulder, shoving. Pain shot through bone. Leo screamed, scrambling toward her, but Ryan's boot caught Leo's ribs. Too hard. Too deliberate. "Stop!" Sofia hurled herself at Ryan. They fell against the dresser, a picture frame crashing. She clawed at his face. He yanked her hair. Leo's sobs sliced her heart. Ryan's eyes burned with drunken rage. "I'm his father. He'll learn respect." A car horn blared outside, then a second. Ryan froze, breathing hard. Tires screeched. Unfamiliar voices barked orders beyond the corridor. Footsteps approached. A fist pounded the door. "Police?" Ryan hissed. The door swung inward with sudden surgical force. Two huge men entered first, suits tailored, movements precise. Behind them stepped the gentleman from the bench, hat in hand, silver brows knit in concern. "Good evening," he said, voice low but carrying. "You must be Ryan." Ryan straightened, fists clenching. "Who the hell?" "Salvatore Romano." The name landed like a gavel. One bodyguard kicked the door shut. "Your credentials for fatherhood appear questionable." Sofia gathered Leo into her arms, whispering soothing nonsense. Don Salvatore's gaze softened at the sight, then hardened as he faced Ryan. "I learned tonight you lifted your hand against the boy, against his mother." "None of your business. Family is always my business." The Don's smile was mild, almost sad. "You will leave, and you will never return." Ryan barked a laugh, swung a fist. Before it extended fully, one guard twisted Ryan's arm behind his back, forcing him to his knees. Pain cracked through Ryan's voice. "Get off me." Don Salvatore approached, cane tapping once on the floor, though he leaned on it lightly. "Violence against children is a sin I cannot abide." He knelt, surprising in grace, and addressed Leo. "My young friend, forgive the intrusion. I wished only to ensure your safety." Leo wiped tears. "Mr. Sal?" "Indeed." Salvatore's expression gentled. "Would you like a proper bandage for your lip?" Leo nodded shyly. Sofia's throat closed with emotion. Salvatore rose, eyes flicking to Ryan. "Escort him out," he told the guards. "Make certain he understands the boundaries." Ryan struggled, but the guards hauled him out the door, boots echoing down the hall. Salvatore turned to Sofia. "May I call a doctor for your son?" "I'm an ER nurse, I'll handle it." Her voice shook from adrenaline and gratitude. "Of course." He hesitated, removed a white handkerchief, and handed it to her for Leo's lip. "I apologize for entering uninvited. The situation was urgent." Sofia pressed the cloth to Leo. He winced, then relaxed against her. "Thank you," she whispered. "But how did you know?" "Leo visits with me on his walks. Today he told me his father makes him practice keeping secrets by not bruising where teachers can see." A troubling statement. I followed, hoping my paranoia was unfounded. Sofia closed her eyes, steadying the quake inside. "I should have protected him." "You do every moment." She met his gaze, keen, compassionate, dangerous. "What happens now?" Salvatore glanced toward the hallway. "Your former husband will not trouble you again, though we'll keep watch." He softened his tone. "Leo asked me for a favor. He wants a godfather. I said such an honor requires his mother's blessing. May we discuss it over dinner at my home tomorrow? Meet my family? Judge my intentions?" Sofia opened her mouth, unsure whether to laugh or refuse. This man, this dawn, stood in her shattered living room, offering protection and family ties like an old-world patriarch. Yet Leo's arms clutched her waist, eyes pleading. "I won't pressure you," Salvatore added gently. "But children sometimes see truer hearts than adults." He slipped a card onto the coffee table. "A car will arrive at 6. If you decline, simply don't be outside." With a nod, he departed, leaving the scent of expensive cologne and a hush broken only by Leo's sniffles. Sofia locked the door, knelt amid broken glass, and held her son as thunder rolled in the distance. "Mom," Leo whispered, voice hoarse, "Mr. Sal's nice, right?" She brushed damp curls from his forehead. "Right now I think he might be the nicest, dangerous man I've ever met." "My lip hurts." "Let's fix that." She cleaned the cut, checked his ribs, tender but not cracked, and tucked him into bed. After he drifted to sleep, she swept glass into a dustpan, taped the broken lamp's cord, and sank onto the couch. Salvatore Romano. The name hummed with power. She'd grown up hearing rumors about the Romano family, shipping empires, construction deals, whispered ruthlessness. What game was he playing? Yet he'd come when she needed help most, treating Leo with fatherly tenderness. Sofia rubbed her eyes. If they went tomorrow, she'd control the narrative. She wouldn't be intimidated. She'd be the lioness Leo believed her to be. Rain pattered against the windows as she stared at the card. Beneath Salvatore's name was only a single phone number. No address, no company logo. Power didn't need introductions. Sofia set the card down and gathered Leo's ripped backpack to mend. Needle flashed in the lamplight, stitch by tiny stitch. She would salvage what was broken, always. But for the first time in years, she wasn't certain she had to do it alone. Morning drizzle clung to the city like a veil when Sofia left a message at the number on Salvatore's card. She chose her calmest voice, thanked him for his help, and accepted the invitation. No reply came. Yet at 5:58 that evening, a black sedan eased to the curb outside her building. A driver in a crisp suit stepped out, opened the rear door, and addressed her by name with quiet deference. Leo fidgeted beside her, dress shoes scuffing the damp pavement. His split lip had faded to a pink line, but the bruise along his ribs made him walk gingerly. Sofia smoothed his hair and climbed into the car, seating him between them as though leather upholstery could shield him from every harm. They left Brooklyn's patchwork of bodegas and brownstones, crossed the bridge, and entered a neighborhood where trees arched over gated mansions. The car turned into a long drive lit by wrought iron lamps. White stone gleamed beneath climbing ivy, and a fountain whispered at the center of a circular courtyard. Leo's eyes widened. "Mom, there's a knight on a horse." She followed his gaze to a bronze statue rearing above the water. "That's a conquistador, I think." The front doors opened before they reached the steps. Don Salvatore waited in a tailored midnight suit, smile warm, but his eyes swept over Leo with a physician's care. "My honored guests, welcome." Two uniformed staff took coats. A third knelt politely to Leo. "Master Romano asked me to show you something special after dinner." The butler's accent hinted at Palermo. Leo beamed. Sofia watched every gesture, every glance, cataloging kindness and danger alike. Salvatore offered his arm. She hesitated, then rested fingertips on brocade. He guided them through a marble foyer into a hall glowing with wall sconces. Paintings of sun-drenched vineyards and Sicilian coastlines lined the corridor. From a grand salon came voices, laughter, the jingle of glass, deeper murmurs undercutting merriment. As they entered, conversation paused. A tall man in a burgundy jacket lounged on a leather settee, dark hair artfully disheveled, grin easy. "The nurse and her little hero, finally," he drawled. "I'm Dante, the fun brother. Ignore anything serious, I say." Salvatore arched an eyebrow. "My son enjoys impressions of frivolity." Dante lifted a tumbler in salute. "Life's dull without it." He turned to Leo. "Heard you like superheroes. Come." Show me your punches. Leo glanced at Sofia. She nodded once. He approached Dante, who knelt, careful not to tower. They traded mock jabs and laughter that warmed the vast room. At the mantel stood another figure, taller than Dante, broader in shoulder, yet motionless, as though analysis required stillness. Dark hair combed back, navy waistcoat buttoned with military precision, hands clasped behind him. His gaze rested on Sofia with polite curiosity rather than overt appraisal. Salvatore beckoned. Sofia, my middle son, Marco. Their eyes met. Sofia's breath caught, not for his looks alone, though he possessed the chiseled Romano jaw, but for the quiet intensity that seemed to weigh words before they were spoken. Signora Morelli, Marco said, voice low, measured. An honor. Sofia, please. She offered her hand. He accepted it lightly, thumb brushing her knuckles in a gesture both old-fashioned and disarming. A subtle warmth spread through her chest. Salvatore motioned toward the dining room. Shall we? Dinner unfolded beneath a crystal chandelier that scattered prismatic flecks across bone china plates. A long mahogany table easily seated 20, though tonight only 6 places were set. Sofia, Leo, Salvatore at the head, Marco at her right, Dante across from Leo. The 2 bodyguards from the night before remained in shadowed doorways like statues carved of basalt. Bowls of tomato bisque arrived, fragrant with basil. Leo slurped until etiquette lessons nudged him to slower sips. Conversation flowed around him. Salvatore inquired after Sofia's work, his questions precise enough to show knowledge yet never crossing into interrogation. She described hospital shortages, double shifts, children with asthma complicated by factory air. Dante interjected humor. Father donates ventilators, but our warehouse guys use them to inflate the company picnic bouncy castle, earning a mild glare from Marco. When entrees arrived, veal saltimbocca glazed with sage butter, Marco leaned toward Sofia. If you prefer something lighter, the chef will adjust. It's perfect, you treat guests like royalty. Only those who deserve it. His gaze held hers a moment too long, heat flickering beneath composure. Leo, cheeks full, tapped Sofia's sleeve. Mom, Mr. Dante says there's a gallery with swords. Downstairs, Dante confirmed. Antique blades, zero dull conversation. After dessert, perhaps, Salvatore allowed. Conversation turned to music. Leo admitted he'd quit piano lessons because the school instrument smelled like feet. Dante laughed so hard wine nearly splashed. Marco rested an elbow on the table, head tilted, studying Sofia's relaxed expression. He liked the way her laughter began in her eyes before escaping her lips, how her shoulders eased when Leo told jokes. Between courses, staff slipped in and out. Sofia noted seamless efficiency, evidence of disciplined hierarchy. Yet around the table the mood remained familial, not criminal. She wondered how often these men discussed contracts or territory in this very room. After tiramisu, Salvatore dabbed his mouth with a linen napkin. Leo, my library awaits your critical eye. I need a new recommendation for adventure novels. Leo brightened. I can find you one about dragons. A commendable quest, Marco, escort them. Marco rose, pulled Sofia's chair. She felt the heat of his palm on the small of her back, steadying, not possessive. They followed Leo through corridors lined with oil portraits. Low lamps cast pools of amber on parquet floors. Leo trotted ahead, pausing at glass cases displaying antique first editions. They entered a vast 2-story library. Shelves soared to frescoed ceilings where cherubs chased constellations. Leo drifted toward a rolling ladder with awe. Remember 3 points of contact, Sofia cautioned. Marco chuckled softly. He reminds me of Dante at that age, fearless and impossible to slow. Your brother seems fond of him already. Dante is fond of anything that smiles. Marco walked along a shelf, trailing fingers over spines. But genuine affection, that is rarer. He stopped, selecting a weather-worn volume. Treasure Island, perfect, for adventure and moral ambiguity. Leo accepted it reverently. Can I borrow it? It's yours. Sofia's protest faltered under Marco's gentle insistence. Books belong in eager hands. He returned to the ladder, gaze lingering on Leo's bruised jaw. May I? Marco knelt, tilted Leo's chin, examining the fading mark with physician-like detachment. Healing well, but if pain persists, let me know. Our staff includes a pediatric orthopedist. Are you a doctor too? Leo asked. I studied medicine before changing paths. Why'd you stop? Something unreadable flickered in Marco's eyes. Because I realized I could save more lives protecting my family. Leo nodded as if that made perfect sense. Sofia watched this exchange with a warmth she hadn't felt in years. Marco rose, his gaze settling on her with quiet intensity. Your son is extraordinary. He's my entire universe, she said. Thank you for making him smile after everything. We protect what matters, he hesitated. That includes you. Soft footsteps approached. Dante leaned around the doorframe, feigned whispering. I need backup. Father wants to debate opera again. He winked at Leo. Come rescue me. Leo bounded off, book in hand. Dante saluted Sofia with theatrical flair and vanished, leaving her alone with Marco amid towering shelves and the hush of old paper. A tremor of awareness rippled between them. Sofia crossed her arms, suddenly self-conscious. I should thank Don Salvatore properly for last night. Marco stepped closer. My father respects courage. When he saw you stand between Ryan and your boy, he saw bravery he values above blood. I was terrified. Courage is action despite fear. He paused. Ryan won't reach you again. Our men are watching him. I can't condone violence, nor can Leo suffer more. We'll pursue firm persuasion, legal avenues where possible. His lips curved slightly. But safety comes first. She searched his eyes for threat, found only resolve. You risk a lot for strangers. Leo never felt like a stranger, neither do you. Her pulse fluttered. The library felt smaller, air thick with unsaid promises. She stepped back, bumping a globe. It spun lazily, casting continents in moving shadow. A knock on the jamb spared her reply. Salvatore entered, silver hair catching lamplight. Forgive the interruption. I wish to ask Leo a question, but I see he has fled with my flamboyant air. Marco inclined his head. They're plotting rebellion in the music room. Excellent, Sofia, a moment. Salvatore gestured toward an alcove with velvet settees. She followed. He sat opposite, cane laid across his knees. This house can overwhelm. It's beautiful, she said truthfully. Beauty means little without peace. He leaned forward. I extend an offer. Allow me to become Leo's godfather. Accept our protection, in word and deed. Not an obligation, merely family. Sofia clasped her hands. What would that protection cost? Nothing you do not wish to give, you remain free. He smiled gently. I place no chains on a mother's love. Emotion tightened her throat. Leo deserves safety. And joy. My grandson, if I may borrow the term, will know both. She exhaled slowly. Yes. The single word felt like opening a door to light after years in a tunnel. Salvatore's eyes glittered softly. Then we celebrate. He rose, kissed her hand. Rest easy tonight. No shadows linger under my roof. Later, a maid guided Sofia and Leo to adjoining guest rooms overlooking moonlit gardens. Leo collapsed onto a mountain of pillows, book clutched to his chest. Sofia tucked him in, stroking his hair until his breath settled. In the hall, she found Marco waiting, hands in pockets. Moonlight from a tall window silvered his profile. Couldn't sleep, she asked. He shook his head. Wanted to ensure you were comfortable. You've done more than enough. He studied her, voice barely above a whisper. When you need anything, call me. Sofia's pulse thudded. I don't even have your number. He retrieved a fountain pen, took her hand, and wrote digits on her wrist in careful script. The touch sent a ripple to her spine. She managed a shaky laugh. Old school. Indelible, he murmured. Good night, Sofia. Good night, Marco. He turned away, footsteps silent on the carpet. She watched until he rounded a corner, then closed her door, heartbeat fluttering like wings against her ribs. Behind heavy curtains, the garden glowed in silver hush. Somewhere below, security patrolled. Unseen, but constant. For the first time since Leo was born, Sofia felt something close to safety, and something unexpected, tender and dangerous, blooming where fear had lived too long. Sofia woke to the scent of espresso wafting through half-open doors and the hush of a house already alive with quiet purpose. Pale dawn leaked across the ceiling. She checked Leo's room. Her son was sprawled starfish-like on silk sheets. Treasure Island open on his chest. Outside, gardeners clipped dew-wet hedges murmuring in Italian. Sofia showered, borrowed a plush robe, and followed the coffee aroma downstairs. In the kitchen, a space larger than her entire apartment, staff bustled around skillets, copper pots, and baskets of citrus. Dante leaned against a marble island, sampling a raspberry tart he'd clearly stolen before breakfast. He grinned at her entrance. Morning, sunshine. You look dangerously well rested. Sofia tucked damp hair behind her ears. I forgot sheets could feel like clouds. Clouds embroidered by angels, Dante corrected. Speaking of heavenly things, try this. He offered the half-eaten tart. She laughed and shook her head. You're impossible. That's why they keep me. My brothers are brooding statues. Someone has to provide charm. From the doorway, Marco's voice flowed in, calm yet teasing. Your modesty never wakes before noon. He stepped inside, already dressed in slate slacks and an unbuttoned white shirt. Under the fluorescent lights of the kitchen, his hair looked darker, eyes a warm ember brown. Sofia's pulse quickened at the memory of digits scrawled on her wrist. Coffee? He asked. Please. He poured 2 cups, adding just the right amount of cream without asking, as if he had observed her habits. She accepted the mug, hands brushing. Heat from the porcelain pulsed through her palms, stirring warmth that had little to do with temperature. Dante whisked himself from the room, humming Verdi, leaving them alone save for cooks pretending not to eavesdrop. Marco sipped his espresso. How did you sleep? Better than I can remember. She traced the rim of her cup. I worry it's all temporary. It doesn't have to be. He set his mug down, folding arms across his chest, not defensive but containing intensity. I meant what I said. Anything you need. Sofia studied him. Why does my life matter to you? Because it matters to Leo. Because when I heard you defend him in the living room, I realized I was listening to courage I'd forgotten existed outside these walls. And because I care. He exhaled quietly, as though admitting a secret. Her heart thudded. Words hovered on her tongue when a muffled commotion echoed from the foyer. Raised voices, hurried footsteps. Marco's expression sharpened. He strode to a wall intercom and pressed a button. A guard's voice crackled. Sir, an intruder at the south gate. Identified as Ryan Morrow. He's armed. Sofia's blood iced. He's here? How? Desperation, Marco replied. Stay in the kitchen. No, Leo. We'll protect him. He motioned to a chef. Lock that door behind me. But Sofia slipped out before it clicked shut, racing up the back stairs. Marco swore softly and followed. In the upstairs hall, she almost collided with Salvatore, who emerged from his study flanked by 2 guards. He steadied her shoulders. Leo is safe in the gallery with Dante. I need to see him. You will after this is handled. Salvatore's gaze flicked to Marco. Containment only. Marco nodded, checking the pistol at his waistband. Sofia's stomach twisted. She hadn't seen him carry before. They descended a servant's stairwell to a courtyard where mist clung to ivy walls. The south gate stood open, wrought iron bent inward where a pickup had rammed it. Ryan staggered across the gravel drive, desperation etched in bruised features from the previous night's scuffle. A cheap handgun shook in his grasp. "Where's my son?" he shouted, voice ragged. "Bring him out or someone dies." Guards fanned in a semicircle, guns drawn but low. Salvatore stepped forward, cane tapping softly. "Ryan, go home. Seek help." "Shut up." Ryan swung the pistol. "You think money makes you king? That kid is mine." Sofia pushed past Marco before he could stop her. "Leo belongs with people who love him, not with fists and fear." Ryan's eyes locked on her. "You turned him against me. He's terrified of you." Ryan's jaw tensed, the gun quivered. "Get in the truck, both of you. We're leaving." Marco eased forward, voice low. "Ryan, let her go. You're outnumbered, outgunned, and on private property. Ending this peacefully is your only option." "Back off, Dr. Boy." Ryan cocked the gun. "Every king bleeds red." Marco froze, shoulders square, gaze never leaving Ryan's face. "Sofia, step behind me." She didn't move, unwilling to abandon him. The standoff stretched. Rain began to fall, cool droplets speckling suits and gravel alike. Then a small voice cut through the tension. "Dad, stop." Everyone turned. Leo stood on the terrace beside Dante, clutching Treasure Island against his chest. Eyes huge. Dante's hand rested on the boy's shoulder, ready to yank him back. Ryan's expression fractured, anger, guilt, twisted love. "Buddy, come here." Leo shook his head, voice trembling yet firm. "You hurt Mom. You hurt me." Ryan's arm lowered a fraction, confusion warring with delusion. "I'm your father." "You're mean." The gun dipped. In that heartbeat, Marco moved. One stride, two, grabbing Ryan's wrist, twisting. A shot cracked skyward. Birds exploded from treetops. Guards rushed. Marco wrenched the weapon free, slammed Ryan onto the hood of a parked sedan and pinned his arm. Gravel bit Ryan's cheek. Blood beaded on torn skin. Everything happened faster than Sofia could scream. In seconds, Ryan lay cuffed, disarmed, and subdued. Rain mingled with sweat on Marco's temples. He turned to Leo. "You're safe." Leo's lower lip quivered. Sofia ran, scooping him into her arms. He clung tight, sobbing into her neck. Salvatore approached the guards holding Ryan. "Deliver him to Detective Alvarez with evidence of the firearm and last night's assault. Press every charge." Ryan spat rainwater. "You can't buy justice." Salvatore's smile carried winter's edge. "I never buy what I can earn." Police sirens wailed faintly in the distance, summoned long before Ryan breached the gate. As guards hauled him away, Sofia felt pressure in her chest ease for the first time in years, as if the fist of fear had finally unclenched. Inside, she dried Leo's tears, promising hot chocolate and safety. Dante fetched blankets, draping one over her shoulders with brotherly tenderness, before whisking Leo away to choose marshmallows the size of tennis balls. Sofia waited in the library, clutching the blanket as rain hammered the windows. Marco entered, shirt damp, knuckles scraped. He closed the door softly. "It's over," he said. "He's in custody. Officers Alvarez and Torres are reliable. My father funds scholarships for their precincts fallen. Ryan won't see daylight without parole boards he can't bribe." Sofia's throat tightened. "Thank you." Marco regarded her with an intensity that stole breath. "I was terrified when you ran outside. I couldn't let Leo face him alone." He stepped closer, rainwater darkening fabric across broad shoulders. "You keep throwing yourself in front of danger. I'm his mother. And who protects you?" He asked it like a vow. She swallowed. "Until last night, no one." Silence pooled, thick with possibilities. Marco reached, tracing the still visible digits on her wrist. The ink had smudged in the rain, forming blurred constellations. "What happens now?" she whispered. "That depends on what you want. I don't know how to live in a world like yours." Then let me build a bridge between them. His fingertip skimmed her cheek, tucking a damp strand behind her ear. The gentleness unraveled her composure. Tears burned her eyes. She didn't even know why. Relief, exhaustion, hope. He cupped her face. Sofia, you and your son already belong here if you choose it. Not because my father claims godfatherhood, but because I... He paused, gathering courage she hadn't known he lacked. I love you. Her breath hitched. Outside, rain softened to mist. She placed her hand over his heart, felt the thud under her palm. I started falling the moment you wrote numbers on my skin. I thought it was impossible. Nothing impossible, he murmured, leaning closer. Just improbable and worth fighting for. She rose on tiptoes, closing the last inch between them. Their lips brushed, tentative, then deepened, heat blooming through every fiber. His arms curled around her waist, anchoring her in a tenderness surprising for a man who'd subdued an armed attacker minutes earlier. She tasted espresso and rain, felt steadiness in his palms and fervor in his heartbeat. When they parted, breaths mingling, Sofia laughed softly. I think that was overdue. Years overdue. Dante's voice called from the doorway. They sprang apart, flushing like teenagers. Dante grinned. Leo perched on his hip, clutching 2 mugs. Hot chocolate delivery. Leo wriggled free, rushing to Marco. Are you staying for breakfast tomorrow? We're having French toast again. Marco looked at Sofia for permission. She smiled through happy tears. If he'd like. I'd love to, Marco told Leo, scooping him into a hug. Every French toast Friday, if your mom approves. I approve, Sofia said, voice thick with wonder. Salvatore appeared behind Dante, surveying the scene, his son holding the boy, the woman glowing with new love. He nodded once, satisfaction shining in wise eyes. Family, he pronounced gently, and in that simple word Sofia felt the room become a home. They spent the rest of the evening curled in the conservatory, storm clouds lifting to reveal a shy moon. Dante entertained Leo with exaggerated sword-fighting tales. Salvatore read aloud from Treasure Island in a voice made for legends. And Marco sat beside Sofia, their fingers intertwined on the settee, wordless promises settling between knuckles and heartbeats. Long after Leo fell asleep across Dante's lap, Sofia rested her head on Marco's shoulder and closed her eyes, letting the hush of the house wrap around them. She had walked into this world as an outsider. She would walk out tomorrow morning changed, stronger, protected, loved. Marco kissed her hair. Breakfast at 7? 7, she whispered, smiling against the echo of her past as it faded into memory. Beyond the glass, the world smelled of rain-washed beginnings. Inside, beneath crystal chandeliers and newfound constellations of ink, a godfather's promise had given birth to something fiercer than fear, family forged in hope and sealed with a kiss.